Have you ever felt that silence after a fight? Not the calm kind, the suffocating kind. The kind that creeps into your bones and feels louder than all the yelling in the world. That moment where you're not even arguing anymore. You're just gone. Two people, once so close, now sitting miles apart in the same room. And you can feel it. The shift, the betrayal, the heartbreak that doesn't come from cheating, but from someone no longer trying to understand you. You stare at the ceiling at 3 a.m., not because you're tired, but because your mind refuses to shut up. You're running 1,000 conversations in your head, trying to figure out when everything started to fall apart. And the worst part? You don't even know if they care. You don't even know if you should care anymore. We all have that one person, or maybe more than one. Someone who held a piece of your soul like it was disposable. Someone who made you feel seen, and then made you feel invisible. They didn't just leave a wound. They rewired your thoughts, your self-worth, your trust. And now you walk around pretending you're fine, while silently screaming for someone to just ask if you're okay, and mean it. That's the part no one tells you, the psychological toll. The silent war that plays out inside your own head long after the fight is over. You start doubting your memory, your value, your voice. Was I too emotional? Was I the toxic one? Did I deserve this? That's the spiral. That's where the mind becomes your worst enemy. And that's where Stoicism becomes your lifeline. Not as some cold, ancient philosophy, but as a way to reclaim your mental battlefield. Seneca wasn't talking about fantasy when he said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." He was talking about you, about how you're sitting there, tormenting yourself with conversations that never happen, begging for closure from people who don't even deserve your silence. Stoicism doesn't teach you to stop feeling. It teaches you to stop letting those feelings own you. It doesn't ask you to be emotionless. It demands that you stop bleeding for people who wouldn't flinch if you vanished. You don't find peace through revenge. You don't find it through texting long paragraphs to people who don't even read past the first line. You find it when you stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You find it when you choose dignity over noise, control over chaos. You find it when you finally choose yourself, without apology. So, if you're tired of pretending, if you're tired of begging for the bare minimum, if you're done with explaining your heart to people who treat it like a puzzle they never planned to solve, then stay right here. Because in this video, I'm not giving you a bandage, I'm giving you the blade to cut yourself free. These are 5 Stoic tools, not quotes, not cute sayings, but brutal, battle-born lessons that I had to bleed for. These are the tools that helped me walk away when everything in me wanted to stay. The ones that showed me how to respond without losing my soul. How to reclaim silence without feeling weak. How to protect my peace like my life depended on it. Because it did. So, don't scroll past this. Don't just watch this. Let it grip your spine. Let every word echo in the places they broke. You're going to hear something you needed back when you were shaking, crying in silence, hoping someone would just care enough to see through your pride. The part of you that died in that relationship, it's coming back, and it's coming back stronger. Like this video, share it with the one person you know is pretending to be okay. Subscribe if you're done being anyone's emotional punching bag. And most importantly, drop this in the comments like a war cry. I protect my peace before I please others. Because the fight is no longer with them. It's with the part of you that keeps letting them back in. Let's begin. Number 1. Stop demanding closure. They vanish. Sometimes with silence, sometimes with excuses. But what they leave behind isn't just absence, it's chaos. A room full of memories spinning in your mind, like ghosts that won't sit still. And suddenly, you're not just heartbroken, you're haunted. Haunted by everything they didn't say, by every moment they dismissed like it never mattered. And that's when you crave it. Closure. The final answer. The clean goodbye. But here's what life doesn't tell you loud enough. Closure is a fantasy. A stitched-up version of the truth your mind creates so you can sleep at night. It rarely comes. And when it does, it's never enough. You don't want truth. You want them to bleed emotionally the way they made you bleed silently. You want them to say, "Yes, I was wrong. Yes, I knew I hurt you." But think about it. If they had the capacity to respect your heart, they wouldn't have broken it like that in the first place. You're looking for empathy in the ruins. You're begging for light from someone who lives in darkness. The Stoics knew this war well. Marcus Aurelius said, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed." That's not about pretending. That's about pulling the blade out of your own chest instead of handing it back to the one who stabbed you. That's where real strength begins, not with revenge, not with confrontation, but with calm. Unshakable, brutal calm. When you stop waiting for their apology, you rip the leash off your neck. You stop giving your peace away like it's theirs to approve. You want to be powerful? Walk away quietly. Don't beg. Don't explain. Let your silence do the talking. Not because you're cold, but because you've learned that begging for closure is like asking the storm why it came. It doesn't answer. It just leaves wreckage. And it's your job to rebuild, not wait for the thunder to apologize. You feel pain, yes, but you don't let it become your prison. You don't wait for broken people to fix what they shattered. You fix yourself. You rise through every unanswered message, every lie, every ghosted night. Because real peace is never granted by them. It's taken back by you. Don't wait for closure. Don't chase it. Be it. Number 2. Don't react. Respond. There's a moment, right before the outburst, right before you hit send, before the words fly from your mouth like bullets you can't take back. That moment, that silence before the storm, is where your power lives. But most people never make it there. They're already halfway through the damage before they even realize they've lost control. One trigger, one jab, one twisted smirk, and suddenly you're not in charge anymore. Your emotions are, your past is, your ego is steering, and you're just holding on. And when the dust settles, you're left with shame, regret, that awful feeling when your own words turn against you. You weren't wrong for feeling hurt, but you were wrong for letting that pain speak for you. The Stoics knew this weakness. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And that's the war most people lose, not on the outside, but within. Because reacting is easy, it's primal, it's what hurt animals do. But responding, that takes a warrior's mind, that takes awareness, precision, strength. Reactions are loud, sloppy, they bleed from old scars, they carry voices that were never healed, just buried. But a response, that's silence forged into steel. That's standing still when they expect you to break. That's taking the hit, feeling the fire rise inside, and then choosing peace anyway. You don't respond because you're weak. You respond because you've seen what your rage can destroy. You've seen how one sentence can end everything. You've learned that your peace is too expensive to be sold to petty provocations. So when your ex tries to bait you, smile. When your coworker pushes your buttons, pause. When life throws dirt at your name, stay clean. Not for them, for you, because your strength isn't in how loud you roar. It's in how calmly you stand when everything dares you to collapse. Most people fight fire with fire, not realizing they're burning their own house down. But the Stoic, he walks through the fire and doesn't even flinch. Not because it doesn't burn, but because he's mastered the heat. Next time chaos knocks, don't rise. Root. Don't react. Respond. Number 3. You don't have to win the argument. You could win. You could rip them apart with logic, bury them under facts, outsmart every excuse and leave them speechless. But then what? You're standing over the wreckage with a hollow victory, exhausted, bitter, drained. That's not winning. That's surviving a war that should have never been fought. Because sometimes the people you argue with aren't looking for truth. They're looking for control. And the more you fight, the more you feed them. It's not a debate. It's a trap. A place where logic gets twisted, emotions get weaponized, and you're left bleeding from wounds they'll never acknowledge. You start off trying to defend yourself, and end up trying to defend your right to feel. That's not a conversation. That's psychological warfare masked as communication. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice." And that cuts deeper than any insult. Because the real test isn't whether you can destroy them, it's whether you can refuse to become them. That's where character shows. In restraint, in silence, in the refusal to throw dirt even when you're covered in it. You don't need to win every argument. You need to win your peace. You need to protect your spirit from being pulled into battles that have no finish line, only emotional casualties. And when someone twists your words, gaslights your feelings, mocks your calm, you don't match their chaos. You rise above it, quietly, powerfully, without fanfare. Most people mistake silence for surrender, but silence, real silence, is strategy. It's the moment you decide your energy is too sacred to waste on people who don't even listen, let alone understand. You weren't built to fight every fool with a loud opinion. You were built to walk through noise like it never touched you. Some people argue to feel in control. Others argue to escape their own shame. But when you don't play the game, when you disengage without explaining, without breaking, without rage, that's when you truly win, because you're not proving a point anymore. You're proving your worth. So next time you're pulled into a storm, remind yourself, not every battle deserves your sword. Not every insult deserves your voice. Your peace is the prize. And sometimes, real strength is walking away with nothing but your silence. Number 4. See their behavior as a reflection of them, not you. The betrayal stings. The silence, the blame, the sudden switch in their tone. It hits like a punch you never saw coming, and before you even catch your breath, your mind turns inward. Was it something I said? Something I lacked? Was I not enough? That's the quiet hell we walk through after someone we trusted wounds us. Not just the pain they caused, but the way we make it about us. But that voice whispering you weren't good enough? That voice is a lie born from someone else's damage. Their disrespect didn't start with you. It started long before you ever entered their life. You were just the mirror that showed them who they really were. And mirrors, they don't always survive the people who can't face their own reflection. Epictetus once said, "When someone acts badly toward you, they're the ones who are harmed." That's not poetic fluff. It's truth carved from experience. If someone betrays you, it reveals their loyalty deficit. If they insult you in moments of your vulnerability, It screams of their unresolved shame. If they disappear when you needed them most, it exposes their emotional cowardice. Their behavior was never a measure of your worth. It was always a measure of their wounds. But here's where the trap lies. You started wearing their guilt like it was your identity. You started trying to fix what you didn't break. You gave more, shrank yourself, tolerated disrespect, just to earn the love you already deserved. That's the cost of taking their darkness personally. But the Stoic doesn't carry the shadows of others. He observes them, he studies them, he lets their actions reveal what's broken without adopting that brokenness as his own. You must stop asking what you lacked and start seeing what they never had. Integrity, courage, depth. That was their gap, not yours. Your value isn't dented by their dysfunction. Your worth doesn't evaporate because they couldn't hold it. Their betrayal, their silence, their lies, none of that belongs to you. That's their mirror to deal with, not yours to clean. So the next time someone shows you their colors, let them. Because who they are has nothing to do with who you are. Their behavior is their echo, your response. That's your legacy. Number 5. Solve the problem, not the person. You've been there, wearing yourself thin, trying to fix someone who's broken in ways you can't reach. You thought love would be the hammer that reshaped them, patience the glue that held the cracks together. You believed if you just explained things clearly enough, they'd finally get it. But all you got was exhaustion and emptiness. Because here's the harsh truth, some people don't want to change. Some people want you to bend until you break. And every time you try to fix them, you lose a little piece of yourself. The Stoics don't hand you a magic wand to fix others. They hand you the map to your own mind. Marcus Aurelius drilled it in. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That means you can't control their lies, their moods, their selfish games. You aren't the keeper of their emotions or the architect of their integrity. You're not their rescuer. You're not the patch-up crew for their chaos. The real power, it lies in how you handle the problem around them, not how you try to rewrite who they are. You solve the problem by drawing lines in the sand, by walking away when they keep dragging you into the mud, by choosing your peace over their approval. Because some people don't enter your life to build with you. They come to tear down the walls you worked hard to raise. And every time you ignore that, every time you swallow your pride to keep them, you give them a chunk of your soul as ransom. This isn't surrender. It's survival. It's the brutal clarity that lets you stop wasting yourself on people who won't meet you halfway or even show up. You stop explaining your wounds to those who only want to poke them open wider. You stop giving energy to the chaos that feeds on your calm. You can't force someone to grow. You can't drag someone into the light who's comfortable in the shadows. What you can do is protect your own light as they reveal who they really are. The victory isn't in changing them, it's in freeing yourself. So next time you feel that pull to fix someone, stop. Instead, ask yourself, how do I solve this problem for me? Solve the problem, not the person. You're not weak for walking away. You're not cold for drawing the line. You're not heartless for refusing to explain your pain one more time. What you are is finally choosing your peace over their chaos, the calm eye inside the storm that no one can touch. Stoicism isn't about shutting down your feelings. It's about forging a soul so strong, so unbreakable, that even the harshest storms only make you rise higher. If this video touched a wound you've been hiding, a burden you've carried too long, let this be the moment you set it down. Not because you're giving up, but because you're claiming your freedom. Your story isn't over. This is the raw, fierce rebirth of your power. Like, share and comment your affirmations to join this journey, and subscribe to build strength with us every day.